against Celtic. They've lost only 2 of the last 12 at Celtic. Fair number of games down the years. Well, 10 years ago, Aberdeen were winning the Cup Winners' Cup under Alex Ferguson. Now they're battling for their lives to stay in the top flight, and yesterday faced the biggest game in their history. Jock Brown is the commentator.
Grant towards Shearer. Good layoff. Jess breaks. Now Miller approaching at pace. It is great play from Aberdeen. Cross delivered into one. Jess! It's a goal for Aberdeen! Billy Dodds! 57 minutes of the first half gone, and Pittodrie erupts. Well, it really was a magnificent goal. Ian Jess releasing Joe Miller. Approaching here at pace, there's a magnificent cross. Jess attacks the ball so well in the air. O'Hanlon did well, but there was Dodds on the rebound. Miller to Heatherstone. That pass finds Dodds. This is for Shearer. Brilliant play from Shearer. United ripped apart again at the back, and Duncan Shearer makes it 2. A great goal this, Heatherstone's pass, picking out Billy Dodds. He played the pass early, knew Shearer was there, he was quick enough. One touch only, drilling the ball beyond O'Hanlon. Back in from Perry, a chance on there for Winters. It's a goal for United. Robbie Winters gives United a lifeline. 4 minutes from the end. Well, the headed clearance there from Dodds was returned swiftly by Perry, and there was Robbie Winters with that excellent header.
Well, Scottish Premier Division, that's how big a win it was for Aberdeen out of the automatic relegation place. Hearts could yet fill the playoff place. Dundee United, though, Andy, appear to be on the way down. They are, aren't they?
I find it incredible, Richard, when I look at the Scottish Premier League and I see Aberdeen and Dundee United holding everyone else up. Those were the new firm teams, the teams that were going to challenge Rangers and Celtic consistently. In the 80s they did. They competed in equal terms with Rangers and Celtic, won trophies, got into European finals, won European finals, and now to see them in 9th and 10th position, really struggling for their lives, I find it quite amazing.
This is what they've got left. And there's a European place at the top there yet to be settled. Motherwell are chasing it.
Well,
so that'll be no easy game, will it?
It won't be. I mean, Aberdeen know that, you know, if they win and Hearts don't, if Hearts even only drop Motherwell, if Aberdeen beat Falkirk, Richard, then, and Motherwell are going well, so it's conceivable that Hearts won't beat them. So Aberdeen could even get out of the playoff situation, and the Hearts could be the team to drop into it. But for Dundee United, they'll either be playing off against either Dunfermline or Dundee to see who stays in the Premier League, or they'll be down. Simple as that.
Well, it's Hampden Park next for us. Celtic against Rangers this afternoon. Waiting to talk to us, Davy Provan, the former Celtic and Scottish international winger. We start, Davy, I think, with news of Gaza. Is he on his way to Ibrox?
Well, who knows, but I can tell you this, Richard, it's not just the Rangers supporters who are talking about this one. The whole city is buzzing with this one. What we do know is that Rangers manager Walter Smith met Paul Gascoigne on Friday. Lazio and Rangers have agreed a price, and it would appear at the moment that it's now all up to Paul Gascoigne. He has a few days to make up his mind.
Now, what about this game from Celtic's point of view, Davy? The points for Rangers are not important. There's more than that at stake, though, isn't there, as far as Celtic are concerned?
Well, Celtic have to find some form. The Scottish Cup final is coming up in 3 weeks' time. Their form can only be described recently as having been indifferent. And they have to get some reasonable form going into that one, because although Airdrie are from the First Division, it'll give Celtic a very difficult afternoon.
But they'll want to win it because Rangers are the opposition, Davy. Isn't that the bottom line for Celtic?
I'm sorry, Richard, I didn't quite catch that.
I'm pleased. It's obviously noisy your end. I was saying, Davy, that Celtic will want to win this because it's Rangers who are the opposition. That's the bottom line.
The championship is already won, and Celtic are no longer in a position to qualify for Europe through the league. But try telling that to the people of Glasgow. This is a game which stands on its own. It's always an important fixture, and already there's a great atmosphere in the stadium.
A quick word about Brian Laudrup, Davey, another one of the big-name imports to Ibrox, and they've made a habit of that in recent seasons. Is he a worthy winner of the Scottish Player of the Year title?
He's going to be presented in Glasgow tonight with the Sports Writers Player of the Year, thoroughly deserved. He's made a huge impact since he's come to Scotland. A lot of people were surprised that he had chosen to leave Fiorentina and Serie A and come to play in Scotland, but Rangers have benefited enormously from some very accomplished performances. And if you look back to this match last October, when Rangers last came to Hampden, he was the man who destroyed Celtic almost single-handedly.
Well, these are the sorts of things that Brian Laudrup can do. I mean, as a winger, Davey, you must admire the way that he finds a byline and works out opportunities for other players.
Well, he benefits from the free role that Walter Smith gives him. He can beat players on either side. And the one thing that always impresses me about him is his strength, because a lot of players struggle to cope with the physical demands of the Scottish game, but his strength has been such that he's very rarely injured. I think he's only missed 2 matches since he signed here.
And give him sight of goal, he'll score.
Well, he doesn't score many goals, but he's a major contributor, getting good supply into the box. And speaking to Ali McCoist last week, he said the biggest incentive for him to get fit again is to get in the penalty box and get on the end of some of that supply coming from Brian Laudrup.
Not surprisingly. Davey, thanks very much. I hope it's a good afternoon. The last time Rangers were at Celtic, they won, but at the turn of the year, remember, the traditional New Year's game, that finished 1 apiece.
Could get in here. Ferguson does. Ian Ferguson against the run of play in truth, but Rangers lead. Collins with the cross. Oh, a brilliant goal. A marvellous goal by Byrne.
Well, that's what it meant to Celtic on the night. Fabulous atmosphere at Ibrox there was then. Pride very much at stake for Celtic today. Rangers, of course, champions for a 7th successive season. They're chasing Celtic's record of 9. The Old Firm clash is live on Sky Sports next. And remember, after that, it's Old Trafford for Manchester United against Sheffield Wednesday. But it's Hampden next. Hampden Park, where Celtic play Rangers. Mark Haitley at 5-1, the bookies' favourite to get the first goal. Van Hooijdonk of Celtic at 6-1. 7-1, Scotland's Player of the Year, Brian Laudrup. Collins 10-1, Durant of Rangers 12-1. Trevor Stephen 20-1. Basile Boli 33-1. Is it worth asking Andy who he fancies or who he'd like to win this?
As a total neutral, Richard, I just hope it's as good as an awful lot of the Old Firm games. I think it was important for Rangers, the New Year's game. I think the one thing they were missing badly was Mark Haitley. I think the fact that he's actually playing today really enhances Rangers' chances of doing something. But as David Provan says, with the Scottish Cup final coming up very shortly, Celtic need to strike some form, and what better time than against their old enemy. And it's going to be tight. I mean, the odds say that. They suggest that the bookmakers can hardly separate them. And it wouldn't surprise me if 2-1 draw looks a good bet.
Well, later at Old Trafford, it's Manchester United against Sheffield Wednesday. Right now, Hampden Park. Our match commentators, the former Rangers skipper Terry Butcher and Jock Brown. Good afternoon to you, Jock.
Good afternoon, Richard, and welcome to Hampden Park. Coming up shortly, but really, right now, this is the match to see. Both sides have won a game each this season and 1 draw. So, for the honours over the season in the city, this is the decider. And Terry, Rangers have won the championship, but you've been in that dressing room. How will they be feeling right now?
Well, they'll be very keen to do one over Celtic. They know Celtic have got the cup final coming up in 3 weeks, and they want them to go into that cup final with bad memories of an Old Firm defeat. So, from the players' point of view, they'll be desperate. Or from the Rangers' players' point of view, they'll be desperate to put one over Celtic.
One blow for them, of course, is Richard Gough had surgery a few days ago. He's not in the side. Was that important, you think, this afternoon?
Well, it's not that important because they have McLaren there, they have John Brown, Basil Bowley. They have quite a glut of centre-halves that are fit and available. So Walter Smith, really, with his formation, can shuffle his pack around quite well.
But Celtic, on the other hand, they've had problems recently, lost 3 of the last 4. It's a very big game for them, is it not?
Well, yes, a very big game for them. They don't want to do what Rangers did last year. Rangers went into the cup final, lost about 5 out of 6 games, and they went into the final on a bad run of form. Celtic are in danger of going into that final again with an equally bad run of form. So Celtic, from their point of view, will see this game as very much a key to their cup success.
And of course, it's the last match at home as tenants at Hampden Park for Celtic. They've got 2 away games to come in the league, and they have found it very difficult here to perform to their best, haven't they?
Yes, they found it difficult. We've seen Celtic this season. We've seen floodlight failures. We've seen everything at Hampden Park. I think really Celtic don't enjoy playing here. The spectators don't enjoy coming here very much. The players certainly don't enjoy playing here as much as they do at their home at Celtic Park. So they'll be looking forward next season to going back to a rebuilt Celtic Park and playing in front of their own fans once more.
And on the team front too, an appearance this afternoon for Simon Donnelly. Is that a surprise to you?
It is a surprise. I think we won't see this lineup by Tommy Burns as roughly his cup lineup. Willie Faulkner's not made it, of course, and Simon Donnelly comes in, and it's a chance for Simon Donnelly to really stake his place for a cup final place.
So plenty of enthusiasm, as you can see, all around the stadium. The Celtic supporters relishing this opportunity to take on the champions for the 7th time in a row and show the extent to which they've developed under Tommy Burns this season. They certainly found goal scoring extremely difficult, but the defence has been tightened up substantially. So this really will be an intriguing contest. Only the side to lose fewer goals in the league this season, Celtic, in fact, was Rangers. They've lost only 31 to Celtic's 32, but the goal scoring stakes, there's a 25-goal difference, Terry, between the 2 sides.
What has been Celtic's problem all season is that they haven't been scoring the goals. They've been shuffling the pack round, different strikers and so forth, but they just haven't got the goals in the back of the net, and if you don't score goals, you don't win games.
So enthusiasm there for the Terraces, but still no sign of the teams. They're very late in appearing, and the referee, Les Morton from Wilsontown, the Scottish World Cup representative last year in America, is in charge, and I think he will be knocking on doors right now to have the sides appear. So it's a blustery, cool afternoon here in Glasgow, but conditions for football very good, apart from a little bit of wind that's around. And most of the noise we've heard so far comes from the supporters wearing green and white. Well, they won the first match, Old Firm match of the season at Ibrox by 2-0 under Tommy Burns. Paul McStay, John Collins scoring a couple of great goals. Since then, though, Brian Laudrup ripped them apart in October to win by 3-1 for Rangers. And then there was that 1-1 draw, which is on Sky Sports in the new year. So this is the decider as far as the Glasgow rivalry is concerned between the 2 sides. And still a delay before the teams appear. Rangers supporters there, waiting for the arrival of the 2 teams. John Brown skippering Rangers. Paul McStay leads out Celtic. So, as always, the 2 sides emerge together. Brian O'Neill, the last man out for Celtic. 23-year-old centre-half. So the welcome from all sides of the stadium as the teams break now to prepare for action. And the Celtic team, confirmation coming up of the Celtic team there. In defence, Rudy Vata replaces Tony Mowbray, who's suspended for the cup final. Andy Walker's unfit, Willie Faulkner and Phil O'Donnell injury doubts during the last few days, and they're left on the bench with Simon Donnelly starting his first match since the Coca-Cola Cup final in November.
This is how we think they'll line up. The back 4 is the same that we saw in the semi-final against Hibs, and roughly the same midfield. And up front, it'll be interesting to see how Simon Donnelly does alongside the big giant Pierre Van Hooijdonk. We do have a little enlarged Toshack Keegan variety up front today. It'll be interesting to see if he can get on the end of big Van Hooijdonk's flicks.
So Rangers have no Richard Gough, as we've advised you. He was injured with a foot injury and he's had surgery on that to make sure he's fit for next season. John Brown, though, is back wearing the captain's armband. And 19-year-old Australian Craig Moore is on the side, with Alexei Mikhalichenko relegated to the bench.
It was difficult to predict Walter Smith's exact formation here, but this is how we think they'll line up, with the back 4, McLaren at right back and Basil Bowley coming to the centre of defence alongside John Brown. Up front it'll be obviously Mark Hateley and Brian Laudrup, but we just have to see the midfield just be floating about. Gordon Dewey on the right-hand side and Ian Ferguson and Trevor Stephen in the centre.
So, the two teams preparing, and the managers there are obviously very good terms. Tommy Barnes, they're taking his seat in the stand, as is Walter Smith. Still a very important game for both these managers. They don't want to end the season with any bad taste, and that would certainly be the effect of a defeat in the Old Firm match. There's Les Mottram, the referee, who was with the World Cup officials in America last year and performed very well indeed. So he is preparing the two sides for action, and the waiting is almost over. We're a little late in starting the match. Referee Mottram making sure all the practice balls are removed from the stadium or from the playing surface, and Rangers will start the match with that deadly pairing of Brian Laudrup, number 11, and Mark Hateley, number 10. So the final Old Firm match of the season is underway, and already an alteration to the thoughts about tactics for Rangers. John Brown has started the match in the left-back position with Basil Bawley and Alan McLaren together in central defence. Interesting move, Terry.
Yes, John Brown starting centre-half there. Craig Moore's gone to right-back, and Alex Adams gone to the right-hand side. Interesting for Rangers. Interesting that Ian Durant's gone the left-hand side. It's an attacking system. It's attacking system for Celtic as well. So hopefully we should see plenty of goals today.
And Brian McLaughlin, who's a very left-footed player who frequently operates on the right-hand side, has started the match on the left. So there'll be a couple of youngsters in direct opposition there. McLaughlin, just 20, against Moore, who is 19. Tosh McKinley gets to the head of Alec Cleland to turn that away for the Rangers throw. So here's young Craig Moore, who will take the throw for Rangers. Very impressive young player. Not so good at the throw in early in the match though, and he wins the ball back at the expense of a goal kick though to Celtic. But Craig Moore has made a big impression, Terry, this season.
Yes, he's made a very big impression. He's been in and out of the side through injuries and everything else, but in his first full season, like Charlie Miller as well, is not playing today. They've got a good reason to look back upon this season and be very pleased with the progress that they've made.
So Pat Boland's first contribution, approaching his 35th birthday now. Suggestions that Celtic are in the market for a young goalkeeper. That flick on came from Grant. That was Donnelly beating the ball by McLaren. Hateley challenging there with Boyd. Will be in direct opposition. Van Hooydonk easing Bowley off the ball. It's a free kick to Rangers. Confirmation for Celtic, the back four, Vata, Boyd, O'Neill and McKinley. Brian McLaughlin has now switched across to the Celtic right. Stay, Grant and Collins make up the midfield. Here's Bonner coming a long way for this. And referee Mottram having words there with Hateley on the way past. Totally committed as always.
Yes, a great ball into the box here. The goalkeepers, Pat Bonner, have been criticised for not coming for the ball, but a good block on Mark Hateley by the Celtic defender enabled Pat Bonner to come and collect that ball very safely.
McKinley's head up. Well, Hateley, the scorer of 15 goals for Rangers this season, despite missing a lot of matches through injury. So Moore again with a throw. He can interchange, of course, with Alec Cleland, who's playing ahead of him. The right-hand side of the midfield, equally comfortable at full-back. Good tackle by Grant. The chase here for Donnelly. Firing with a cross also. Here's Billy Thompson playing in his first Old Firm match at the age of 37, the Rangers goalkeeper. 7 international caps he had in his spell with Dundee United before moving on to Motherwell, and then here last summer as a backup goalkeeper for Andy Gore and Ali Maxwell. There's O'Neill. Hawley marking Van Hooydonk. So an interesting front pairing for Celtic. Van Hooydonk, tall striker who's very good on the ground, links the play up very well. And Simon Donnelly, who also is a player full of touch and skill, without the kind of blistering pace which would certainly finish off the armoury for a striker. Collins with the pass. This is Grant. Now McStay. If the gap it goes for Donnelly's in the clear. And a fine save there by Billy Thompson. Alan McLaren had slipped, giving Donnelly that chance.
Lovely ball inside the Rangers defence there. You see McLaren slip there. He's slipped there. Simon Donnelly trying to hit across the goalkeeper. Instead hits low, right in the centre of Billy Thompson's midriff. Good chance for Simon Donnelly.
The last time Sir Donnelly scored was on the 14th of May last year against Aberdeen and Pittodrie. Hasn't scored for Celtic this season, and did show a lack of conviction there in that shooting position. Well, Simon Donnelly came into the Celtic side last season and scored 5 goals in 10 matches, but struggled since then. Here's Laudrup, getting involved in a play for the first time, looking for Haitley. A fine header there by Haitley, and a reminder to young Brian O'Neill from the threat posed by the Rangers striker.
Once again, it's that man Laudrup just jinks the way. He just gets the ball into the box. He doesn't beat anybody, just gets the ball into the box. And you watch Mark Haitley's power off the air. Good header just over the bar.
So fine play again on the flank by Laudrup. McLaren with Donnelly, and Donnelly causing a problem there for McLaren. Here's Ian Ferguson. And McLaren thumps the ball away. Well, McLaren playing his favourite position, right in the heart of the defence. Played so frequently right back this season for Rangers, but this time beside Bolly in central defence. So still the settling in process here in the early stages of the match. Rudi Vata has played very well indeed at right back since coming into the frame for the side in recent weeks. This is McStay. An injury there to Ian Ferguson, who's gone down as he tried to tackle McStay. This is McKinley. Played along for Van Hooijdonk, and he clashed there with John Brown. The Celtic supporters howling there for a penalty kick. Fairness, Van Hooijdonk saying nothing about that, but there certainly was a very hefty collision while the ball was in the air with John Brown. And McLaren thumps the ball to safety. The Celtic supporters still incensed. Moore's header there. There's Trevor Stephen. Careless one by Bolly. Breaks kindly here for Donnelly against Bolly. And Craig Moore gets back very swiftly indeed. Very athletic young defender. O'Neill returns it. There's Collins, and Donnelly was too close to him. Well, a controversial moment there. John Brown taking Van Hooijdonk out of the play while the ball's in the air.
This is the ball into the box now. We just see the collision. We don't quite see the actual incident there, but from a central defender's point of view, sometimes you have to block people, and it's up to the referee then to try and catch it if you've done it deliberately. But in that case, our pitchers really couldn't say conclusively if John Brown had fouled him deliberately in the box.
Well, the Celtic supporters behind Billy Thompson were totally convinced that that should have been a penalty kick. So Craig Moore now with the throw. Haitley's come across. Boy turns it back, and there's Bonner with some time to clear for Celtic. So there's Grant battling again as usual. This is O'Neill looking for Van Hooijdonk. The interception was made well by McLaren. Now McLaughlin on the Celtic right, comes in so easily on that left foot. Van Hooijdonk linking, and a careless pass wide. Well, let's have another look at that incident between Brown and Van Hooijdonk. See it again with an angle here, Terry.
Yeah, so you can just see the top of your picture there, John Brown. Just take out Pierre Van Hooijdonk. That would be a great tackle in American football, I think, really, just to block him there, just blocking the wide receiver.
Well, that certainly supports the Celtic supporters' view that it might have been a penalty kick. Here's Van Hooijdonk. Well, trying to get that volley to dip under the crossbar. He scored 6 times since arriving from SC Breda in January.
Yes, well worth the try from outside there. The ball did set up for him. It didn't quite come down on top of the goal, but at the end of the day, it was well worth the try. Celtic must be pleased with the way they've started. They've had a good chance through Simon Donnelly, a bit of controversy from the penalty area, and a shots on target. So Celtic really have started probably the most, or probably the better.
There's Tosh McKinlay with a headed clearance. Ferguson has recovered from a knock he took, challenging Paul McStay. This is Collins. Donnelly goes inside. Ian Ferguson putting him under pressure, and then Craig Moore comes seething in with that tackle. Well, Ian Ferguson's task is to ensure that Collins and McStay don't flourish in midfield. He's the ball winner in there for Rangers. Tackle by Collins is a foul. Alec Clellan goes down. Part of that double-headed transfer with Gary Boland from Dundee United 3 months ago for £750,000. Good header away there by Vata. Boyd turns it back. And here's Paul McStay coming very deep for Celtic to become involved in the build-up as early as he can. That's long for Donnelly. Good header off for Van Hooijdonk. Here's Donnelly again. Holding the play up well. Allowing Rangers, though, to regroup in defence. This is Brian McLaughlin. Donnelly back to McStay, who began it all with a long pass from his own half. Tackle came from Ferguson. So it's a reasonable spell, this, from a Celtic point of view. They have opened up with some conviction. The offside flag is up on the far side. Rudy Vata was breaking there.
And just at the top of the picture there is offside there, just offside there. Got an excellent decision by Mr. Cathcart, who's the linesman on the far side, who's also my doctor as well. So if there's any medical problems on the pitch, he'll be first on.
Head flick on by Ian Ferguson. That was Boyd. Well, how do you feel Tom Boyd has adjusted to central defence, Terry?
Yes, he's done very well alongside Brian O'Neill. Brian O'Neill especially is hardly thought of in Celtic service, but Tom Boyd's done marvellously well. I mean, he can play left back, right back, centre half and everything else, so it's a great asset to his manager.
Slice clearance there by Brian O'Neill, giving a throw to Rangers. It's fair to say, I think, the match really hasn't settled down to any kind of pattern.
No, not really settled down to a pattern, but Celtic already have probably the best start. They've had chances, they've got the ball into the penalty area, they've tested the Rangers defence, and a couple of long balls have caught the Rangers central defenders out. So I think Tommy Burns will be a happy manager of the two.
Done back there by Bolly. That's Thompson. Now O'Neill, very comfortable coming forward. And Hooijdonk finding McLaughlin, attacking John Brown. And that was a very important interception by Ian Ferguson. Donnelly was in behind him there for that. Well, the good close control shown by Van Hooijdonk and Donnelly, and McLaughlin causing problems for Rangers. Van Hooijdonk, a major threat in the box now for Celtic. Tosh McKinlay lining up the end swinger. Brian O'Neill's on the goal line. Well taken by Thompson. Very tall goalkeeper. 2 inches tall, stretching well for this.
This is what Billy Thompson needs early in the game there. Good ball into the box. Not a real good challenge alongside him, but able to come and get the ball comfortably, take it. That'll set him up well for the rest of the game.
Boyd with Haitley. Well, I have a notion that Tom Boyd will relish the opportunity to pit his wits against Haitley. Ball was out of play there. Well, Rudy Vata looks aggrieved, the Albanian international. Having a word at long range with the linesman, in what language I'm not sure. Back with Vata again. This is Boyd for Celtic. The target is Van Hooijdonk. Little whistle there with Alan McLaren, who's very strong in that situation. But Rangers unable at this stage to get the skillful men like Trevor Steven and Ian Durrant involved in the middle of the field. Ian Ferguson certainly battling hard in that area, but not enough passing coming from the midfield from Rangers, Terry.
No, once again we find in old firm games that there's just no time in the middle of the park. There's no time for any player to get hold of the ball, get it down and make your passes. There's it is a heavily congested area, but at the end of the day, it's an area where players have to get the ball down to try and get any movement going. And as you can see, another ball going out of play from the back four. There's just no space, there's just no areas to drop balls into. So the game surely should settle down in the next few minutes.
It is Alec Cleland. On the far side is Gerard.